Hello and welcome. This video is just a little brief introduction to announce a new art-based channel that joins the Wahnfried Portfolio. So as well as this main channel and the Wahnfried Cat Sanctuary channel, I am now introducing on the 4th of April, which is a 44, Wahnfried Art Brillanté, which is primarily going to be playlists of classical music, but also there'll be features on painters, maybe some poetry, and some esoteric messages. So with the art focus, so for example, there will be a playlist of the Art Spirits by the American painter Robert Henry, which, if you listen to that, has very much an esoteric tone to it. So it is worth listening just for that. There is also Rudolf Steiner when he talks about tone and colour and music. That is something else very much worth listening to. So I'll put a link in the description to the new channel, and I invite you to try it for yourself. But I would ask that you don't go into this like you would put the radio on and just have it as background sound, something to fill the silence. Take time out to sit down and really immerse yourself in the music and see how that feels to you. Following on from what I said in the last video, this challenge to break pattern, give yourself maybe 1 or 2 weeks of listening to nothing but classical music and see how it feels to you. You may surprise yourself. You may discover things about yourself. The more you go into this, the more you're going to get out of it. So I invite you to go beyond the playlists that I'm creating and look at the lives of these composers. Look at the inspirations for their music and their times and lives in which they lived. And like many artists, they did struggle, a lot of them. They didn't have an easy life. Some of them didn't even get recognition in their own lifetime. And yet they had this vision, they had this, shall we say, a divine calling to create these wonderful pieces of music. And this year, being 2026, marks the 200th death bicentenary of the German composer Carl Maria von Weber. Most of you probably have never even heard of him because he's overshadowed very much by Beethoven, but he was a huge influence upon Frédéric Chopin and Franz Liszt. Not only was he a composer, he was a conductor, he was a virtuoso pianist, he was a guitarist, and he was a critic. And I believe there was other attributes to him. I think arranging the stage performance of his operas and things. So in that 39.5 years, it's amazing the amount of music that he's actually left. And we do now live in this wonderful age. And even through YouTube, many of these composers where you would struggle to find recordings of these pieces of music, let alone get the chance to hear them on the radio, it's now all at your fingertips. We live in a time that is very much about exploring this inquisitiveness to find new things rather than that sort of, oh, this is the way it's always been. So, for example, you would have a time a few decades ago where a radio presenter would say, this particular composer composed 5 works for, say, as piano concertos. The most popular is number 5, so this is what we're going to hear, which was very frustrating. So you never got the chance to hear the previous 4 concertos. But time has moved on. We're in a different era now, and with the internet, things are very much more accessible. So I invite you to give that channel a try and give classical music a try as well. Rekindle that European folk soul within you, if you're European, of course, or of European descent. because it is always about going back to source, and you'll find there is never a better place to do that than with art, and in particular with music. Because of all the arts, it is music that needs living beings to bring the music to life from the score sheet. It stands alone very much in that respect, in what are classed as arts. And interestingly, there is no set definition of what art actually is. There is actually an art in everything, but some will say there are 7 arts, some will say there are 9, because they're including photography and film, which certainly there is an art to that. I can think of no better example of, say, Alfred Hitchcock's film Psycho, where you have the lady who stole the money from the bank, and she's in the car and it's pouring with rain. She's been driving for hours, and you get that sense that you're in the car with her, and with that pouring rain and the windshield wipers are going full speed, and you've got the glaring headlights of the odd car coming the other way. And the amazing thing is, that scene is not even half a minute long. So it stretches time with the mastery of Alfred Hitchcock's directorship in that film. And of course, art is subjective, so you don't have to agree with what I'm saying here. And I'm certainly not going to take offense if you say, I think you're wrong. This is just my opinion and my perspective I'm sharing, but I invite you to explore these things for yourself as well. You may discover things about yourself in the process, and you may actually get something of enormous value out of it. So with that, I'm going to end this video here because I want to keep this short. There will be more videos coming. I'm going to be talking, sort of reminded from a comment in an Archaics Underground post that I left to a post. I'm going to be talking about the subject of the events of 2020 and how they are actually something very positive. That might seem very strange, but you'll have to tune in to a forthcoming video. Hopefully during this coming week I will be making that video. But for now I have to get back to doing a bit of work here, because there is a 7th cat joining Wahnfried Cat Sanctuary from tomorrow. So with that, as always, unconditional love to you all. And just as a reminder before I forget, there is the personal tarot card readings. There are other services and things I can offer you, all purely on a donation basis, that can help you change the situation or the circumstances you may find yourself in, and actually turn things round for you and help you find a way forward in your spiritual growth. So with that, as always, unconditional love to you all.